Hello, this is Windows Daily episode something or other. I don't know what number this is going to be, but as I record this video, as I start recording this video, it's October 19th, 2022 at 3:15 in the afternoon on a Wednesday. What I have here is a computer that I'm connected to remotely. It belongs to a client of mine, and it's failing Windows Update. So I'm going to take you through the process of what I'm going to do to, I think, fix it. Now, I already have an awareness of what I think the problem is. I've done some preparation before hitting the record button, but I don't know if I'm going to be successful. So let's get to it. I'm going to bring that computer up on screen here, and I'm going to take off that blur that's kind of around the middle of the screen because that's intended for another screen that we're going to get to later. So this shows a restart required. Down here in the notification area, we've got that orange dot, which is indicating the computer needs to be restarted. Yesterday, I connected remotely to this computer, and it had a red dot indicating it really needs to get restarted and has been neglected on that restart for some time. Well, it turns out that's not quite accurate. So I did the restart yesterday and the update failed, and I was able to see the update failed. I think I actually have a recording of it, but I don't think I'm going to take the time to splice that in here. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Because showing the error of the failed installation isn't that important. But here it is, this update here, this 501.2170 that's failing to install. This cumulative update for .NET is probably going to install just fine. That looks like a new update, I'm guessing, today. But if I scroll down here, let me get the right mouse button. If I scroll down to see what else is going on. Now this PC doesn't currently meet the minimum system requirements to run Windows 11. It never will. You'll become convinced of that in a little bit here. If I go look at view update history, we can see what's been happening. So here this shows, here's this 501.2170 failed today, October 19th. But I saw it fail yesterday. Now this number 2 in parentheses, I haven't seen that before as an indicator that it has, failed twice. But my suspicion is that this has tried to install before and failed. I don't have evidence of that right now. I could go into Event Viewer and find evidence of that. Frankly, I don't care that much about that question. But this is a security update. And previously, on October 18th, yesterday, a cumulative update was successful in installing. So the computer is installing Windows updates. It's not a blanket failure of installing updates. Here's a security update that installed successfully yesterday, and a cumulative update that installed on the 17th. And then here's one on the 11th. So it's got some successful installs of Windows updates. So that's good. Windows Update is not entirely broken. It just appears to be this update. Now when I click on this update, that's going to take me to information about that update. Just goes straight to this browser page. I took it off screen for the moment because I wasn't 100% sure whether it was going to expose something sensitive. So here's the information about this update. And the thing that caught my eyes right away is secure boot. This has got something to do with secure boot. And I know this computer is going to have trouble with that because I know it's an older computer. So this affects Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2012 R2. That's not what this computer is. And it affects some other computers. So this is a Windows 10 computer, so that's where it fits. Now the rest of this information in here isn't really too much of interest. It makes improvements to Secure Boot DBX. So this is making me think, this might be a BIOS issue. Unified Extensive Firmware Interface, UEFI, has got something to do with that. So I don't know, when I first looked at this, what state the BIOS update is in. It's an HP computer, and I have seen HP through Windows updates install BIOS updates. So I don't pay a whole lot of attention to checking up on them. But this computer is so old with its BIOS updates that they are not coming through Windows updates. So we'll go take a look at something else here. Let's see, where do I want to go? I'm going to bring up the web browser. And I'm looking over there because I've got that up on that computer and I want to get to the right place. Okay, here we go. Here I did a Google search on that computer. That's a moot point, doesn't matter. But these two articles here, I just went to look at them and I saw enough to convince me right away. So I've got those open on these tabs already. In here it says somebody for the past 2 weeks have been trying to install it to no avail. These 3 paragraphs are just basic background information about Windows Update. And down here we get to something more informative. Several reasons may cause the issue to arise. For example, if you have secure boot enabled, you will likely fail to install the update because bootloader is missing security patches. Now, this is all I care about there is still pointing back to BIOS version is what I'm most suspicious about. And then this one from Bleeping Computer. Update may fail with a particular error number. I don't know if that's the error number coming up. I don't care to go find out. And then here again, secure boot issue. That I've really seen enough at this point to warrant going to investigate the BIOS version on this computer. So I'm going to bring up another screen here. This one needs the blur. So here I should have the blur up. So I've got a blur there that shows my client name. This BIOS version, AMI 7.15, July 2nd, 2012. Some of you just screamed at your screens. It's an i7 3770, so we know it's not going to be Windows 11 compatible. My client already knows he's going to have to get a new computer during the next couple of years, but we can get this computer serviceable for some more time before doing that. I think. We'll see. There's a caveat to that. Am I going to be able to update this BIOS? I think I will, but you're going to see a reason here why I'm a little bit concerned about it. So then I brought up a command prompt window and I used WMIC BIOS get serial number to get the actual serial number of this computer so I can go to HP's website and try to get a BIOS update. Now I can also get, let's see, I think it is WMIC BIOS get, oh yeah, but this isn't going to be quite right. I usually get the BIOS version from MS Info 32. Now this does give us the correct BIOS version 7.15, but it doesn't give us the clue that it's a 2012 version. There may be a way of doing that through WMIC. I'm not really concerned about that. So then I'm going to bring up the next screen I want to show, which is over here on HP's website. Yes. And I've got the serial number already pasted into this field, and then we'll click submit. Now I just go, well, I guess I should show, I'll just how I got to that page. Go to hp.com and then go to support and software and drivers, and then click on desktop. And then here's that field where I just put in that serial number. And I clicked submit. So once I clicked submit, that took me to this page. Tells me it's an HP Pavilion HPE AH8-1360T, and this is what it looks like right there. Then I scroll down, and I'm doing this on that computer. This is an unusual thing here that it's asking me, what operating system do you have? Usually HP's website would be able to detect that, but it's having a problem here because this model computer, not only is it not qualified for Windows 11, it's not supported for Windows 10. But yet it gets updates, and there's optional updates available. I should be showing you what optional updates are currently available before I actually install the BIOS update. I'm going to tell it that it's Windows 8, just so I can get to a list of drivers. And then I'm going to tell it it's a Windows 8 64-bit. Turn off my picture for a moment, and here's a submit button. So then we get to this screen that has an option for letting HP detect the drivers for this HP PC. I'm not going to do that because it doesn't even know about Windows 10 drivers for this computer. So I fully expect that that would fail. I'll click on all drivers. And then at the top of the list is the BIOS driver. Click to expand that. I've got two choices. There's an 8.20 and an 8.21. They're separated by a few months. The verbiage of these are identical, except the one on top includes the word compact. HP compact, consumer desktop PC, BIOS update. Well, this first one has the 8.2. This one down here doesn't specify the 8.2, but it's 8.21. ROM family, SSID 2, AD5. So those are identical except for the word compact. So it looks to me like this is just the newer driver. Here I can download it, but I'm interested in knowing what are the installation instructions. Am I going to have to be physically at the computer using a USB memory stick? That's a possibility. So I click to expand this section to see what I can find more about it. It gives me information about what it is, improve the security of UEFI code. So doesn't that seem likely that this failing security update might be failing because the BIOS doesn't have the security capabilities that this Windows security update needs? Due to security changes, after this BIOS update is installed, previous versions cannot be reinstalled. So there is a possibility that this could brick my client's computer. In that case, we'll be okay because this is not his only computer. This is not his primary computer. And we can deal with it. But this computer needs to be able to get security updates. I want at least that much for us to continue using it. So if I go in here to see full details, to see what more I can find out about the installation, scroll down here and there's installation instructions. So scroll down a little bit more and then expand that section. And what it tells me here is download the file by double-clicking the download or obtain software button, save it on the hard drive, double-click the download file, follow the on-screen instructions. So I am going to do this remotely. If it goes wrong, I will drive to the office. I have keys to the office, and I will deal with what I need to deal with. My client is actually out of country right now, so it's not even going to be an emergency issue. I'll click download now. I got to remember, I want to show you optional updates before actually launching this download. So there it is, SP70266 in the bottom left corner. Now, let's go look at optional updates. Bring up this screen, and I'm back to the update history. I'll go back to the prior screen and show view optional updates. Here's Windows updates up here. It has there's a feature update to 22H2. Now, I neglected to point out, let me go back to this screen and show what versions of Windows were affected by this update. I have that over on Microsoft Edge on that computer. Yeah, these security updates up here shows Windows 10 version 21H2 is affected by this. And is that what it was offering me to go to? Oh, it's offering me to go to 22H2. So what about just installing 22H2 because it's not affected by this? Well, my guess is that 22H2 will fail to install because that BIOS version isn't up to snuff. So just because this says 22H2 is not affected, my guess is that this security update would not be applied to 22H2 because that security feature is baked into 22H2. So then let's get to optional updates for drivers. This is where oftentimes HP and Dell computers will have a BIOS update. This does have Intel updates for chipsets, and so it is able to get updates even though it's not technically supported by HP for Windows 10. But there's no BIOS update in here. After updating to the current BIOS available that I can update to, my guess is it will be able to install BIOS updates in the future because it'll be going from a BIOS version that is capable of receiving an update through Windows Update. So let's get back to here. Here's that update. I can launch it straight from there, but I like to move the file into a more appropriate location. I'm going to bring up my camera and avoid showing this screen because I know my client's let's just go back. Yeah, my client's name would show up if I go into the file system. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and launch it from here. So a single click on that, it opens it. Click yes here, and then click next. Let's look at this information a little bit. BIOS update version 8.21. Now I think that's not the BIOS version, but rather perhaps the update utility. Effective date January 5th, 2015. I don't routinely read through all of this. Does this go back and show me what that was? Oh, it was 8.21. Okay. 8.21. All right, so that is the BIOS version number. Accept the license terms. Then it's going to put it into this folder, which I was going to put it into this SW setup folder anyway. That's a folder that HP uses to manage their drivers, and I've kind of adopted that as a folder I use on any computer, even when they aren't HPs. Click next. Extracting software. Got some DOS screen going on here. All right, are we going to get a prompt for rebooting? There's not giving me any prompt to restart. Here I'm back on the Windows Update screen. No message here about restarting. So I'll just go ahead and do the restart and see what we get. There, restart is going. Now I've been recording this straight through. It's possible I might go edit the video and speed up some portions. I don't see any need to cut. I'm trying to give you the real-time experience for this. I just took it off the screen because I've got a portion there that exposes my client's name. And it is showing me on my Log Me and Rescue Technician that the computer is rebooting. When it becomes available for me to connect to again, it'll give me a button that says Launch Remote Control Session. Okay, I edited out about 2 or 3 minutes of time waiting for that BIOS update to finish installing through the reboot. So then I'm going to click on Remote Launch Control. I'm going to turn on a full screen blur and then launch that remote control and go see how this has worked out. Then I'll click on my full screen button. Click on the Start menu and type Update space Settings. Click on the search result for Windows Update Settings. And here we're at a place where I can turn off the blurs. There's some problems installing updates, but we'll try again later if you keep seeing this and want to search the web or contact support information. So there is the error number. I don't know if that's the same one we saw in that search result or not. I'm making a note of it. Let's go look at update history. Failed to install. There's the 501-2170. Now this restart should have been the BIOS update. Did that work? Was that successful? So to see that, I'll bring up MS Info 32. So that'll be Windows key R. MS Info 32 is already in the open field because I had it open a little while ago. I'm going to turn on the blurs. And it does show AMI 8.21. So the BIOS update did work. Now the BIOS update occurred during that restart. So is the problem with that update failing again because the BIOS wasn't updated when that update was trying to install? So now perhaps it'll work. I'm just going up here to fix this blur to be where I need it. And then I can actually show you the version of BIOS that we currently have. And this one is that. So then I unblur that. There we go. So here you can see we've got AMI BIOS version 8.21, October 20th, 2014, which I'm not entirely sure that's the date that it was showing us. I thought it was just in the early part of whatever year it was. But 8.21 is the right version number. So then let's get back to close MS Info 32 and then try the update again. Go back one screen and retry. Because now we have the right BIOS in place, so maybe this will work. The computer is not bricked by virtue of installing that BIOS update, so that's a good thing. So that 501-2170 shows that it's installing now. So last time we did the restart, it had already installed it with the old BIOS. in charge. So now the new BIOS is in charge. This is the installing step. We haven't got to the point of restarting yet. If this fails, my next approach is to install the optional updates, because those optional updates have to do with chipset. That certainly could be affecting a security update. And over the recent year or two, I've become far more comfortable with installing optional updates. In the past, I've not been comfortable with that because I had encountered problems with them, but the whole topic of Windows updates has become better than what it used to be. When I say the old days, I'm probably going back to Windows 7, certainly, even more so Windows 95. This is a different update installing right now. Well, now this is interesting. We're not even getting a restart prompt for that update that was failing. It looks like it has already installed successfully. This is a different update that's going right now. So I'm going to go into update history and see if we get a confirmation that that update actually did install. 501.2170, there it is, successfully installed. Bada boom, bada bing, Bob's your uncle. And that worked. We're going to take a look at optional updates. Feature update, I'm going to hold off on that. Let's get driver updates. I'll go ahead and take all of these. And I'm not going to keep this video going through all of those because that's just pretty routine. Download and install. You can see them downloading here. Some of them already 100% and then pending installs. Here's one that's installing. It's really not very predictable what order they're going to install in, and some of them might take a long time to complete the install. So let's look closer at what we've got. Intel Express chipset, LPC controller. This one is pending a restart. So I've got a restart, but oh, it's restarting on its own. I did not prompt for that restart. And this happens. All of those, there were several other updates that did not look like that they were ready to restart yet, that they hadn't actually installed. They said pending install. So here's a remote control button already. Oh no, I see what happened. It did not restart. The computer did not restart there. What happened is one of the updates that installed actually briefly interrupted my remote connection. Now all of these are showing pending restart. So I'll go ahead and do that restart. Here my Log Me and Rescue technician console screen is showing me the reboots in progress. Up here it shows me the number of seconds, 38 seconds right now, since it actually did what Log Me In considers a restart. It's not ready for me to connect to yet. I can connect before the computer actually gets logged in. Since there's nobody there to put in the password, that's kind of important. So my clients can actually log out of their computers and I can still connect to the computer remotely, unattended, as long as it is turned on. Now I have the launch remote control session button available, and now I'm showing 11 seconds. So there's, during a restart process for my remote software, there's a point where I can see that the restart is in progress, and it counts through an amount of time while it's restarting, and then the counter zeroes out again when the remote connection button becomes available for me to click on. So there I'm connecting to the computer, go full screen. Press the Windows key and type update set, S-E-T-T. That's usually enough to get a search result for Windows Update settings. Click to open that. There's the taskbar populating. It's not unusual for a restart after updates for the computer to be sluggish for a while, so this is fine. Turn off the blurs. See what we got. Check for updates. I guess I told a fib a little while ago when I said I wasn't going to show those optional updates during this video, but I want to get to a point where we see everything done. That's got one more Microsoft Defender antivirus to install. That should not require a restart. I don't see any optional updates. If there's optional updates available, it would show up on this screen as a link. It's taken a very long time. Still sit on installing 0%. I'm going to check to see what I can find out. Right click on the taskbar and choose Task Manager. CPU showing 100%. When I first went into Task Manager, that's not unusual. But then very quickly it goes down to a more normal number. So those numbers look okay. There we go. Boom. That just suddenly got unstuck, I suppose. So here we are, up to date. Last check today, 3:54 p.m. So that's the end of this Windows Daily. Now, my total time on this video, I've kept this video running the whole time. I have not paused the recording. I will go back and edit it. But the total time on this video is almost 44 minutes. 43, 40, just about to turn 44 minutes right now. So I'm going to shorten it up a lot. I'll speed up some portions. I don't know that I'll cut anything out. Of course, I had already known what approach I was going to take with this. So I'll actually be billing my client more than that amount of time, probably about an hour and a half worth of time for the troubleshooting and research and fixing the issue on this computer. All right, that's it. Here's my email address if you want to reach out to me. I want to get more people involved with me in doing remote support on my channel, to where I'll provide free Windows support by connecting remotely to your computers. You come on to a Zoom session with me with your cameras on. You know, that's where you're providing the value. So it's not really free, is it? You're doing something in order to get the free Windows technical support. We can do that during a live stream, or we can do that during a private session where I upload the video later. So if you're interested in doing that with me, or pass that information along to people that you know. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.